Hey guys, I'm back and I'm ready to start making videos again. But before that, I wanted to take some time and talk about some of the stuff that happened a little bit before and during and after the con. So, it's not all sunshine and roses, but I did have a good time though. I got to hang out with some really good friends. I got to meet some extraordinary people, as well as see some very talented cosplay from all different types of like groups and stuff like that. And I enjoyed my time. In fact, I actually originally I was never a fan of Atlanta because I stayed there during some weird circumstances, but the more I've went in the most recent years, I've enjoyed my time there. So maybe I'm starting to mellow out a little bit on Atlanta. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. The trip, like I said, it was fun. Getting there was kind of a struggle, and as well as some other fun stuff that happened there too. Best place to start is always at the beginning. So, earlier in the week, I had already started prepping for the trip and stuff like that. I've already had like my bag was packed, my tech was already ready to go, as well as getting the car stuff situated. So I got an oil change as well as a full tank of gas because I figured I'm going to be leaving around 4:30 in the morning that Thursday. Everything was fine. I woke up at 4:30 like I planned. Made sure I double checked to make sure I had everything was copacetic, and made sure I was prepared. Grabbed my bags. Even did a little intro video. Ooh, excuse me. A little intro video where you saw I was like, hey. So I had my hood on, especially with my glasses, and everything was fine. Everything was taken care of. I go outside with my keys. I just locked my door, and I'm trying to unlock my trunk so I can put my bags and luggage in there. Slight problem with that. As soon as I hit the button to unlock my car, I notice nothing. No sound, no light, not even like the unhinging of the locks on my door. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, where's. No. And I look and I see the spot where I parked my car was gone. And I'm thinking, no, this can't be right. I park it right here. I know where I parked it. I couldn't have just lost my car. But like I said, I'm still waking up. And the fact that happened, it was like, Mephi, where is Kiwi? Because I named my car Chaos Kiwi. But that's not important. So I look down and I see glass on the floor. And immediately my heart sank. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? But that's just I was not okay. I was levels of anger were reached at that moment. But instead of snapping, I took a deep breath. I internally screamed, of course. That did not stop. I can just hear my head just like exploding from all the rage. I grabbed my bag, and I sat down on the steps, and I called the cops. And then immediately after, I called my father, and he was like, "Hey, I thought you said you weren't gonna call me early in the morning." I said, "Jug, my car's gone." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "My car is gone." He said, "What? Wait, what? Someone stole my car?" And he's like, "Oh, for fuck's sakes." I said, "Yeah." So he came over, and we're sitting up here trying to wait for the police. The police finally show up, and they do a police report. We're trying to figure out exactly what's going on and stuff like that. Beforehand, I couldn't exactly get in contact with my insurance at first because it was still early in the morning. Luckily, I was able to e-file, so that wasn't a big deal. I just had to play the waiting game so I can actually call somebody so we can get it started. And they didn't open until like 8 in the morning. So I'm sitting up here having to tell everybody. I even made a group text message to everybody that was going to be at the Airbnb that guys, there's been an issue. My car got jacked. And what makes it worse was the plan was I'd be on the road. It would be like 4 hours for me to get from my place to Atlanta because I was going to pick up Dapper from the train station because he took the train to get there. And That didn't pan out, so I'm trying to get in contact with him, let him know what's going on, and he's like, wait, what? I said, yeah, so you might have to get in contact with Davos, see if they can grab you. So I kept everybody updated and stuff like that, and I'm sitting up here trying to figure out what am I going to do now? This would happen when I needed a break from everything. And my dad's like, so what are you gonna do? I said, I still want to go, because like I said, I need this vacation. I really needed to get away. I needed the time so I could just unwind for a little bit. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, my insurance, I have renter coverage, so I could just rent a car through them. So they set me up with my agent for my claim and stuff like that, and they got me situated to say, well, okay, we'll get you a rental car, but unfortunately the process takes 2 days. And keep in mind, this is Memorial Day weekend. It was already going to be a hassle anyway trying to get the actual the car rental, and they were saying it would take 2 days, so I would have to literally try to go pick it up Saturday. But they said, if you want to, you can go and get the rental now. You just have to cover the first 2 days and then get the insurance to swap it over on the day for your pickup. I'm thinking, all right, fine, that shouldn't be a big deal. So I call the rental car place, and they told me that I would have to pay basically most of the money I had saved up for the trip so I can get that covered for the first 2 days. And I was okay. They said, we don't have much, so if you want to, you can call back around 1 or so and we can figure out. I said, what do you have currently? Dude said, I have a minivan. I'm like, cool, minivan that I drove last time I had a car issue. Wasn't that big a deal. So he told me I would have to pay $150 the first day and then $150 the next day, plus the deposit, the down payment of it for $300, meaning I would have had to come out of pocket $600 right then and there. So I'm sitting up here like, why is this happening? Why? So the whole day I'm just furious at the situation at hand, and I'm trying to figure out, why did this happen? And I called the police back because it's been like hours at this point, and I'm trying to figure out, like, was there any update and stuff like that? And they're like, nah, we're still trying to look into it, and we transferred your case over to our detective. So left that alone. They said just keep your phone with you at all times, so that way if we try to get in contact with you, some of them might try to get in contact with you with their personal cell phones. So if you don't recognize the number, still at least try to answer it. So later on that day, I'm sitting up here updating everybody still, like, so I still don't know exactly what to do and figure things out from there. Next thing you know, I get a call around 5-ish or so from the police. They're saying, so we found your car. I'm like, okay, cool. They said it was over in one of the locations in front of a rec center in the neighborhood over there. I'm thinking, why does that sound? Oh, I know exactly where you are. And they're like, all right, just if you can try to swing over this area. I'm like, I'm gonna have to call my dad. It's gonna take a second because I don't have a ride there. Luckily, the officer was like, I'll come pick you up then. I'm like, cool. So we get there and we find my car, and whoever took it, they jumped the curve and drove it into some bushes. And I'm trying to figure out, how did this even happen? Why did this even happen? Then I remember the one thing that instantly made me almost snap, because this happened to a coworker of mine at my job. Apparently, there's this TikTok challenge that was going around, and I think it's still going on around right now, where these dudes call themselves the Kia Boys. They show you how to, like, for specific Kias and Hondas, that you can actually bypass starting the car if you don't have the key by doing something in particular. I don't want to say exactly what it is. Just if you want to know, look it up for yourself and you'll get extremely pissed off, exactly like I did. So they did that to my car, and apparently it was some kids, and that's another thing that just set me off. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I find my car. Keep in mind, it had a full tank of gas. By the time I found it, it was at a quarter of it. I'm like, The back window for the driver's side was knocked out. The car seat was pushed all the way to the front. My entire steering column was ripped apart, and these kids jumped up my car. I mean, they looked, I don't know exactly where they went off to, but the thing that I was talking to a family member about, the thing that irritated me the most was they were still in the area close to where I stay. And I'm like, if it was an adult, probably, that was thinking right, they probably, you know what, I'm not even going to go into that right now. So, like I said, they jumped up my car, they tore the steering wheel column out, they left that in the back seat, they stole change that I had in my armrest and stuff like that, which was not that big a deal. I was looking for my work badge. They took the arm strap that was attached to it and ripped that off for God knows how, what. One of the knives that I kept in there for emergency uses, like say if I got into a car accident and it had like a seatbelt cutter and a windshield breaker, just in case. So like I said, if you are in a car accident, you can get yourself to safety as long as you're coherent enough and stuff like that. That's missing. And what else? I don't know exactly where all they went, but apparently they went to Little Caesars, because when we found the car, there was like a box of pizza with like ranch packets in the handle of the passenger side door, as well as like other stuff, and they just left it on in the bushes when they found it. So I'm trying to figure out what the actual hell, and I'm just at the point where I am extremely pissed off. And the cops were like, well, if you want to, we can have it towed, or it does seem like it's drivable, so if you need to take it somewhere, we can follow you and make sure you know exactly where you're going if you want to take it home. And I'm thinking to myself, the only place I can think of somewhere safe off the top of my head is with a relative. So I call them and let them know what's going on. They say, yeah, bring it over here and we'll get you squared away, and I'll even help you clean up. I'm like, okay, cool. Then I talked to the police. I said, don't y'all need to run for prints and stuff like that? They said, unfortunately, we can't. So we do have some suspects, the ideas. If you want to, you can press charges, but there's really not much else you can do, because if it is children, we can't do anything to that. I'm like, so I get the car, I take it to the relative. We're sitting up here talking, trying to figure some things out, what to do, and I ended up talking to my dad. He was like, you still want to go to the con? I said, yeah, because unfortunately that's money I can't get back. I mean, I've already put it down, and not to sound funny or anything like that, but I really need to get away from y'all for a little bit. And he said, I understand. So he knew how much the situation was with the car, with the rental car and stuff like that. So what he did, he gassed up his car, got an oil change, and said, just be safe, and gave me his keys. And I'm like, are you serious? He said, yeah. So after that, me, him, and the relative were starting to clean up the car and stuff like that. Then the kicker that really even got me was, while we were cleaning, he found a gun in the front seat under all the pizza and stuff like that. They were like, what the? So he picked it up. He said, what's this? I look up for the, he said, oh wait, it's not real, it's a BB gun. Kind of looks a little realistic though, but still. But another thing that we were thinking about that is, if someone really could have gotten hurt because of all this, and just because some kids wanted to be funny and try to follow what's on the internet, and it just irritates me, because I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I haven't done anything to anybody, why would this happen to me? But then I realized it was like a freaking internet challenge, and it's like, where are the parents in all this? Where, like I said, oh man, a lot of that is just really infuriating, and I'm just like, I have to suffer because some idiots decide they wanted to try something stupid, and it hurts because I can't really do anything about it. So, and anyway, like I said, talked to the insurance. They said they were going to get that squared away, and that's being taken care of as we speak right now. What else? So, that morning around Friday, I actually thought about leaving Thursday night so that way I can just get there and I don't have to worry about traffic being too heavy. But I decided to get some rest anyway. A part of me couldn't exactly go to sleep like I wanted to, but I ended up getting like a couple hours of sleep anyway. And I woke up around 4:30 again, made sure everything was situated, and packed. Oh, almost forgot. There was another thing that happened too. The police also gave me a steering wheel lock, so that's actually cool. But yeah, got up, made sure everything was copacetic with my dad's car, and I just took off. I drove for 4 hours straight and just needed to get away for a little bit, and I made the drive. It was actually really peaceful, but quiet all at the same time. Not like, as you know, there's multiple types of silence. This one just felt weird, but it wasn't that big a deal. And I drove and, like I said, had fun getting there and made it. The first person I saw as soon as I got in the Airbnb was they're like, "Hey, Mephi." I said, "Hey, what's going on?" Grabbed my stuff, went in, talked to everybody. They're like, "We're really sorry about what happened." I said, "Yeah, let's just get everything situated and just hang out." And at that time, Kang wasn't there yet. He was flying in that day too because his flight was for Friday. So me and him were kind of late to the convention, but we still had a good time. But now that we're on Friday, I was going to save this for the podcast, but I figured this actually should be talked about because it was actually a pretty funny moment. So I got to meet Mistress Dove, Wing Wolf, and Evo Devo, as well as a lot of other really good friends too while we were there. But this one in particular happened with me, Dapper, and Kang. So the idea was so we wouldn't have to worry about dealing with downtown Atlanta traffic. We would take the train at one of the train stations close by to the Airbnb and then go to the convention that way. We were at Hamilton E. Holmes train station. Keep that name in mind because, yeah, just think about that for a sec. So, later on at the end of the convention, me, Kang, Dapper, and Vin was there too for a little bit too because we had, like I said, just met Dove and them. And they were like, "Hey, we're about to go to get something to eat. There's an IHOP close by that's 24 hours. Y'all want to come hang with us for a little bit?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. It shouldn't be that big deal." And I even told Dove and them that, yeah, we just got to get our car back because we parked at the train station, so we got to take the train and get back to the car. I said, "Yeah, cool. We'll give you the address where we're going and just follow us whenever you get a chance to." I'm like, "Yeah, bet." So everybody's like, "Okay, so we're heading off." Vin decides he wants to stay with the others, so he went back with Davos and them, or at least ran off to go find them because he wanted to check out the other panels. I'm thinking, bet. We get back to the train station, and mistake number one was made. We came in on the eastbound blue line. Didn't think too much about it because from what we saw, the eastbound goes back and forth. But what we didn't realize was, in order to get back to where the car was, we were supposed to take the westbound. Keep listening to this part. So, because this is very important. So, we think, okay, maybe this is the eastbound we're supposed to ride. First train we didn't because we thought, maybe it's not going the right way. So, we wait, and the eastbound gets here. All three of us get on, as well as everybody else. We get onto the train, and everything seems okay in our eyes. We didn't think anything was wrong. 2 stops later, we get a announcement on the intercom saying, due to an unforeseen circumstance, we're going to have to be on standby for a little bit. So I look over at Kang, and King Dapper looks at me. We're all three of us looking back at each other like, "What do you think happened?" "Well, no biggie." We're thinking, it's not that big a deal. We're just going to wait for a sec. About another 15 minutes later, after repeating the same thing, they tell us at this time, every passenger has to evacuate the train. We don't know. I didn't know exactly what was happening. So we're like, what the hell? They said everybody has to evacuate the train. There will be a bus downstairs to take you to the next location or the next station. We're like, what happened? So we get downstairs and we're thinking the bus that's sitting right there is taking us to the next station. But no, we found out that bus was going to the Rainbow Road location. And we're like, what is happening? Then Dapper looks up and sees on the monitor, it's telling everything. Apparently, someone jumped the guardrail and tried to, I don't know exactly what they were trying to do, but they ended up getting hit by the train. So because of that, it had to derail everybody off their trains. Even one, despite the fact it was going the opposite location, everybody still had to get off the train because they had to figure out what was going on with that. So we're like, damn, this happened. No big deal, no big deal at first, and we're just like, we'll just have to wait for the train, wait for the bus. Dapper looks over at me and said, hey, so can you drop me off downtown when we get to the car? There's something I want to take care of. I'm not going to go into detail about that because it's not my story to tell. But just know by the end of the night, he was extremely pissed off. So, I'm thinking, yeah, it shouldn't be a big deal. So I'm sitting up here waiting. I'm texting everybody, letting them know what's going on, including our people at the Airbnb, letting them know, hey, the train's acting a little weird right now. Apparently, there was an incident. We don't know exactly how long it's going to be. So they're like, yeah, cool. Just keep us posted. I even talked to Dub and them saying, so this is what's going on. They're like, don't worry, we'll wait for you. So we're still waiting. And people are getting anxious and upset now because apparently the bus that they think is supposed to be taking us to the location is not. And one dude got so pissed off, he started cursing everybody out, including the staff. So it got so bad that the police were called. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, chill. Then he mysteriously disappeared. They never caught him, but he disappeared. So after that, another bus comes and is taking us to the station where we're supposed to. But it was not going to fit everybody on it, considering the fact that there was like so many people that had just got off the train. So they get on that one. Me and the other two were just sitting like, we'll wait for the next one because that was about to be crowded. So the next bus does come. We get on, and instead of sitting down, I decide I'm gonna let the other two sit down and I'll just stand right here. They're like, really? You don't have to do that, Mephi. I'm like, it's not that big a deal. So we're sitting up here riding to the next station. Kang looks at me. He said, Mephi, I love you, bro, but you might have to go solo to IHOP because I am exhausted. I'm like, it's not that big a deal. Let's get back to the car first and then we'll figure everything out. So we finally get to the train station that they were taking us to and taking in the scenery as well, just looking around because everything looked great. So we get onto the train, we get upstairs, the train takes us to the end of the line and everything seemed okay. Then I hear on the intercom, and I didn't think too much about it, the train is now departing for Indian Creek. So we get all the way to Indian Creek, we get off the train, and they're like, yes, the car's close by. Something in my head was like, something doesn't feel right, and I don't quite know. So I even say, guys, does this look familiar to you? One of them said jokingly, he said everything looks different at night. I said, no, this doesn't feel right. So we get upstairs, we're like, wait a minute, Mephi, didn't when we were coming in, we had to get upstairs to the train and not get upstairs to the street? I said, yeah. And we're still looking around. Dapper was like, hey, the car's over there, right? Mephi, try, I'm like, that's, click, that's not us. Then all of a sudden, Kang looks at me like, Mephi, trick question. I'm like, yeah. Didn't the train station where we got off of look like an abandoned warehouse? Then it hits me. I'm like, oh no. Then I get a phone call from Davos and they say, hey, we made it back to the train station. Your car's sitting right here. What's going on? Where are y'all? I'm like, Davos, where are y'all? Hamilton E. Holmes? Then it hits all of us and our hearts just sank. We were at the wrong station. We were literally at the other side of Atlanta. Holmes was right here. Indian Creek was all the way right here on the map. And we're like, oh no, oh no. And we're like, what do we do now? And Dapper was like, that's when he got irritated about the other thing that I'm not going to go into detail about. You'll probably find out about that in the Hotep's Rangers podcast where we talk about other stories from Atlanta. But Gang looks at me like, now what do we do? And I'm thinking to myself, let's just get back on the train. It's probably going to take us a minute, but we'll get there. We'll get back home to the station, and then we'll just figure it out from there. Next thing you know here, the train is now departing for Hamilton E. Homes, and we're looking back. And we look at each other and we're like, oh, God. Around that point, my dad called. He was like, hey, baby, what's going on? I said, Joker, I'm going to have to call you back. What? We're looking for the car. What do you mean? I will call you back and explain everything in a minute. Just give me a minute. So, hangs up. We're trying to figure out what to do. Dapper looks at me like, if they can give us the address, we can just get an Uber there. And we ended up doing that. I spotted for it, so it wasn't that big a deal. And got back, told everybody, yeah, it's already pretty late. We're not going to make it, unfortunately. We'll make it up to you tomorrow, we promise. And we were defeated to the point where while we were driving home, we were like, hey, I want to grab something from Wendy's. And they're like, I don't care. So I ended up calling my dad back and explaining everything to him. I even called my friend Chunky Cheeks and explained everything to her. And she was like, let me get this straight. Were y'all lost in Atlanta? And I was like, well, you hear Kang's big deep voice in the background like, essentially, yeah, for a little bit. So, yeah, that happened. I think that's actually one of the funniest things to happen out of everything in the con. Other than Wing Wolf putting pan pizza on blast. That was hilarious. That happened. Mistress Dove apparently threw a shoe at somebody, and I wasn't there for that. That was fucking hilarious. I kept running in the alley like multiple times, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, she's going to think I'm weird, and I really hope she doesn't. But nah, she was a cinnamon bun. I also met Shinobi Ray. I showed the picture of that from the compilation video, and it was actually really interesting because the day 3 for everybody else, but day 2 for me, we were standing in line and we were trying to grab something to snack on. We were at a line that had like some pork buns and chicken buns. But we were sitting there, and I look up, I'm like, why does that cat look familiar? And he's sitting there just talking with his friends, had his headphones. I'm like, hey, I'll hold my spot real quick. So I literally swoop around from the other side of the line, and I'm like, hey, are you Shinobi Ray? He said, allegedly. I said, oh, sweet. I'm a huge fan of yours. I love your skits on Instagram and YouTube, and I just want to say, keep up the good work. And you seem like a really chill dude. He said, oh, appreciate it, bro. I said, you mind if I get a pic? He said, yeah. So we took a selfie, and he said, what's your name? I said, I'm Dwight. And he said, nice to meet you, fam. And we handshook, and I went back in line. Dapper looks up like, hey, Mephi, I said, yeah, I already got the picture. He said, oh. But yeah, other than that was my time in Atlanta. There were some other things that happened too, but those were the most particular things that popped off in my head the most. And like I said, I had a lot of fun. Hopefully, if the cards align themselves, I'm going back next year. But yeah, so back to the other stuff that I have planned for this return. I already had a video made that I was going to put out before the con. It was me trying out Dragon Quest Treasures, at least like the first little bit of it. So that's going to come up tomorrow. But then after that, I know I said before when I was talking about why I left, I threw out the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. That is going to happen. I just have to make sure the fan dub that we're doing for it, everything's copacetic with it, and get my friends together. Hopefully, if we can get that, I want to say before the end of June, or before the end of June, or the end of July. It's not exactly a promise, but it's coming. I just have to make sure everybody's schedule lines up with it. But yeah, MomoCon 2023, 10 out of 10. We'll do it again. Y'all take it easy.